Yesterday I did something that I haven't done in a long time, and that is have a quadruple feature. That is where you take 4 movies and you watch them back to back, no breaks. And the best part about this quad feature, if you want to call it that, is all the movies I'd never seen before, and they all were awesome. So that's a rare thing, man, especially when you're dealing with fucking Netflix, any kind of streaming platform out there. They all have stinkers, more shitty films than good films, but it was refreshing. So I'll start off the discussion with the first movie that I watched, which was co-written, directed, and shot by Zack Snyder. Now, I know Zack Snyder is a name that gets a lot of hate, a lot of ridicule, a lot of criticism and stuff like that, but I'm not into the DC Universe films, the Marvel films, any kind of comic booky type shit like that. So all of that criticism goes right over my head because I don't even give a shit about those movies or the characters within. But I will say this, Zack Snyder did an amazing comic book film in 300. I thought that was an awesome, really cool cinematic experience, very different. It was a very sort of a new thing. Like the way I look at it, almost every shot in that film is like a fresco painting. You know what I mean? Like this very visually appealing. And not only did he do that, he also did one of my favorite horror remakes in Dawn of the Dead from 2004, of course, a remake of the 78 Romero classic, which is, a daunting thing to do. And I think that was one of the first, remakes that we got, the one of the first horror remakes, because I know they did, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, The Thing, Prom Night, Chainsaw Massacre. Basically, all the big franchises have been remade, or the big heavy hitters have been remade in one way or the other, which sucks. But in this case of Dawn of the Dead, it doesn't suck because that movie is killer. I love that flick. I love the cast. I love all the performances. I love the way it looks, the way it's shot. I love the sort of slow motion stuff that happens throughout the film at just perfect timing. When it goes into slow motion, it's like, fuck yeah. For instance, the scene at the end where, or closer to the end, when CJ throws the Zippo, he throws a Zippo lighter and it's in slow motion. There's another scene where the shell casings are hitting the floor in slow motion during a shootout. I really like that movie. Ving Rhames, of course, Mekhi Phifer, who I love. Great film, Dawn of the Dead. But anyways, we're going to move on here to the film in question that the Zack Snyder directed, co-wrote, shot, all that shit, and that's Army of the Dead, which is a new film from 2021. It stars Dave Bautista, who's a wrestler, and then there's a bunch of other cast members that I don't know their names of. But anyways, the movie is like kind of a cross between Escape from New York and a zombie rescue film, if that makes sense. There's even, this is no shit, in the first 5 minutes of the film, there's an American Werewolf in London reference, which I thought was awesome. And basically, Bautista, who's like this mercenary kind of guy, he gets offered to do this job where they infiltrate into Las Vegas, which has been quarantined around, much like Escape from New York, because there's all these zombies in there, and the zombies are smart as shit, and they, it gets pretty cool and pretty different from the usual lore. But of course, he accepts this job to go into Las Vegas and go into this casino, go into the vault, and get all this cash. So he puts together this ragtag team of mercenaries, if you want to call them that, and they go and they do the job, and you get some pretty good acting, pretty cool scenes, and even not only did they reference sort of American Werewolf in London, but they also reference aliens at one part in the film, I would say, with Vasquez, because there's a lot of there's this Spanish chick that's got a bandana on, big ass machine gun, kind of like Vasquez. And there's a lot of strobing effects during one of her scenes, which I really felt aliens within there. So I would recommend checking it out. I mean, it is kind of a longer film, especially in today's standards. Well, I mean, today's standards, the films are all pretty fucking long, but it's pushing 3 hours, this flick. But it never feels like it's going, it's pushing its boundaries or its limits in terms of the viewer retention, if that makes sense. I was never fuck, here we go. You know how you watch movies a lot of times and you can predict what's gonna happen, and it's like a whole strung out, drawn out fucking situation until it gets to the outcome that you had already predicted in your mind. It doesn't do that. There's a lot of you know, oh, the daughter's over here, he goes over there, boom, gets her, and it's not like, you know, 25 minutes of him like looking for his daughter and shit. It's good. So Army of the Dead gets a good review from me. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, so these zombies in this film, there's like a zombie king and queen, and the zombie king uses like this piece of cast iron that like fits over his face so he can't get shot in the brain, because they're an intelligent type zombie, some of them. And there's also like a zombie tiger and a zombie horse and shit. So had a lot of fun with that movie. So we're going to move on to the next flick. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of the director, but or the writer or anything like that, but the movie is Nightcrawler. And it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who I love. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. Loved him in Jarhead. Loved him in fucking Day After Tomorrow. I'm trying to think of some other shit that I've seen him in. That movie Prisoners, which I definitely need to rewatch, because I remember I went to the theater with my mom and we seen that and we were both kind of like, you know. But I think now with the amount of like sort of crime thrillers that I've watched, I think I need to rewatch that and give it a better, you know, shake. So anyways, Nightcrawler is all about Jake Gyllenhaal starring as this guy named Lou, who's he's just kind of a bit of a thief. He drives around at night, breaks into places, steals stuff, steals bicycles, sells them, all that kind of stuff. And then he has an interaction where he witnesses this car accident, and he pulls over to the side to see what's going on, which is kind of a fucking weird thing to do. But at the same time, this van pulls up, and the van is being driven by no other than Bill Paxton. So this must be one of his last roles before he passed away very sadly. Of course, I just mentioned Aliens. We all know Bill Paxton is a fucking gem in that film. But Bill Paxton comes along, and he's one of those kind of like paparazzi guys for like, I wouldn't really call him like a paparazzi, because when I think of paparazzi, I think of like people that are taking photos of celebrities and, you know, getting up in their face, and like the guy's like literally trying to have a fucking spaghetti dinner and they got a thing in his face saying like, hey, what do you think of that fucking, the drama between these two people? Like, who cares, man? Who gives a shit? So I wouldn't call him a paparazzi. I'd call him like they call them Nightcrawlers, apparently, just like the name of the film. So Bill Paxton, he gets some footage of it, and then he's on the phone. He's going to sell the footage, and then again, Jake Gyllenhaal, he goes and steals some stuff, gets himself a camera, gets himself what the hell was it? It was a camera and a police radio kind of thing, so we can listen in and hear where all these accidents and shit, and whenever people call the police, they'll dispatch out like, oh, we got a call, blah 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 over here, so they'll go over there, you know. And he'll do that, and there's times where he's getting to these locations before the police and getting this very graphic, exclusive footage, and in turn he's getting in the way of a lot of these like these other sort of night crawlers, and different things happen throughout the film that I don't even really want to spoil. So I would highly recommend checking that one out, because it's very atmospheric, it's very dark. It kind of I haven't watched Drive in a long time, but it kind of gave me Drive vibes with Ryan Gosling. But yeah, Nightcrawler is one you should probably check out, and I enjoyed it. So we're going to move on from Nightcrawler. We're going to move on to the third film. And the third film, try not to forget what the fuck it was. Jesus, I can't believe I forgot that. Well, when you watch that many movies in a fucking night, again, it's kind of like a Slurpee in your mind. But the movie in question is We Were Soldiers, okay, which stars Mel Gibson. This is a Vietnam War flick, which I think if you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of that type of filmmaking. I love Vietnam War movies, you know, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of a cool take where it not only kind of gives the story of Mel Gibson leading this platoon. I believe it's like the 7th Battalion, which is compared to like General Custer in a way. I think Sam Neill is actually in this film as well, but he's sent over to Vietnam after he trains all these guys, and you know, shit happens, whatever you think might happen in the film. But I think one of the most unique things that sets this apart from other films of that genre is it kind of is interlaced with footage of the wives of all these soldiers that are living on this base together. And you know, there's so many Western Union telegrams coming in saying that your husband has been killed in action or is missing in action, that they actually had to hire taxi cabs to drop off these things, and Mel Gibson's wife thinks that's a very cheap thing to do. So she says, whenever your guys are getting these letters, give them to me and I'll give them out to the wives and stuff. And it's very, very sad. There's a lot of sad fucking montages throughout that situation. And you know, the ending is a real kick in the fucking pants, so stay tuned for that if you do end up watching the flick. It is on Netflix Canada, so I don't know if it's all over the place, but yeah, it's not exactly cookie cutter, but there's not much more to say about it. There's some good scenes in there, some decent practical effects and shit like that, but it's no Platoon, it's no Full Metal, it's no fucking Apocalypse, it's no, you know, I've seen, like, when I think of like good war films, those are the ones I go for. I think Saving Private Ryan's a pretty good one. There's a lot of old ones that I watched when I was a kid with my dad that I don't even remember the names of, like a lot of like the World War II flicks and stuff. I think Kelly's Heroes was one of them or something like that. But anyways, We Were Soldiers was a good flick. And I'm going to move on to the last movie, which is the only second horror film. But Army of the Dead wasn't exactly like scary. This movie I'm about to get into was legitimately fucking scary, and I was like sitting here, like, this doesn't happen to me, man. Like, I'm like, not since I was a kid. I'm sitting in my fucking couch here, watching the movie, and actually am not looking behind my shoulder because there's a fucking wall behind my shoulder, but like looking down the hallway and like looking over there, and because I'm scared. It actually fucking freaked me out, man. And it's called Regression, okay? And it stars Ethan Hawke, who of course has been in a lot of really good heavy hitter movies. To me, one of my favorites that he was in was of course Training Day. Loved him in Sinister. I think he's a really good actor. I'm always down to watch flicks with him in it. And he stars as this detective who's working this small town where this girl, who is played by Emma Watson, who was in the Harry Potter films, she was apparently being molested by her father. And he's put on the case, so he gets the father locked up, this and that. And then as he's diving into this case, trying to get answers, he starts to realize that there's some satanic cult influence happening, which you guys know I'm all about. I love Rosemary's Baby. I love stories of satanic cults. Real quick before I forget, on Netflix there's a new Son of Sam limited series where they're talking about David Berkowitz, which I would highly recommend you check that shit out. But you know, it's up to Ethan Hawke and this psychologist to, you know, piece together the story and figure out what the fuck is really going on. And this is a type of movie where I'm not going to say too much about, but I will say there are some moments in this movie that will genuinely freak you the fuck out, okay? And the thing is, they're not even that scary. It's just very unsettling and eerie. Which is, I don't know, man, it fucking blew my mind because I'm sitting there watching it, like I said, fucking scaring the shit out of myself, watching this Ethan Hawke film, you know, and like he did that other horror film, like I said, Sinister, which I don't even think that movie was as scary as this one, because I think this one, its eeriness and sort of attachment to like dreams and like the actual term regression, which is like these, as far as I know, I'm not a fucking scientist or an Oxford scholar here or anything like that, but what they're going for is basically like these hypnosis techniques where they'll look at a metronome and, you know, the people that are conducting the interview will ask certain things and sort of put things in the head and make you think that you remember stuff, but you don't, because it's all being injected through, you know, these, you know, the interviewers or questioners or whatever you want to call it. So really enjoyed Regression, and I think you guys would enjoy it as well. It was a refreshing Sunday, I will say that. So I watched the 4 movies and just had a blast, man. I had, what the fuck did I eat? I had like 2 sandwiches that had jalapeno Havarti fucking on them with mustard. My God, bomb. Okay, so anyways, I guess with that being said, it's Ricky from Video Homicide, and it's been a while since I made a video, and I apologize for that, but stay tuned for more, and stay tuned for more of these sort of, you know, double, triple, quadruple feature type videos. So, looks like someone's got some food out there walking around. But anyways, adios. Have a good day.